What are the least reliable new vehicles that you should avoid buying? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Up Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. A little while back, I made a video on the least reliable car brands that you can buy according to reputable sources like iSeeCars, CarEdge, and Consumer Reports. But which specific vehicles happen to be the most unreliable ones of all and have the most amount of problems? In other words, which vehicles are the absolute worst of the worst? Well, to find out, stick around until the end of the video. And if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications. I post 2 videos a week, always straight to the point, valuable car buying advice, designed to help you, the consumer. Now, although I often consult with mechanics to draw conclusions on reliability information for vehicles, I also look at data from reputable sources, including CarEdge, iSeeCars, and Consumer Reports sometimes too. So let's take a look at which vehicles came at the absolute bottom of the reliability list, starting with number 10, which is the Jeep Wrangler. Although the Wrangler is a hugely popular vehicle and has a huge following among off-road enthusiasts, there's no question, its reputation for reliability sometimes gets swept under the rug. I find it pretty interesting that a vehicle that's supposed to be very durable and rugged when off-roading also has a reputation for being somewhat fragile when it comes to its reliability. Consumer Reports only gives the Wrangler a reliability score of 24 points out of 100, with all kinds of reported issues, primarily when it comes to the suspension, the electronics, but also with the engines and transmissions. The Wrangler 4xe plug-in hybrid seems to be the most problematic version of all, with a number of recalls having to do with stalled engines and also overheating hybrid battery packs. Really, the only saving grace with the Wrangler is the fact that it has very strong resale value, so when you're finally fed up with all the repair issues, at least you know you're going to be able to sell it for a good price. Unfortunately though, that's not going to be the case with number 9 on the list, which is the MercedesGLE. Now, it's no secret that European brand luxury cars don't exactly have the best reputation when it comes to reliability, especially here in North America. Whether it's BMW, Land Rover, Mercedes, or a number of others, they're all known for being extremely expensive to repair and can often experience a lot of reliability issues, especially beyond the warranty period. But this is especially true of the MercedesGLE, which only received a reliability score of 23 points out of 100, according to Consumer Reports. Reported problems include minor engine issues, electrical system issues, and all kinds of problems with the electronics inside the car. That's why when it comes to high-end luxury vehicles, I always recommend leasing them for only 3 to 4 years under the warranty period. That way, if anything does go wrong, at least you're not going to have to pay for it out of pocket. And now moving on to number 8 on the list, we have the Jeep Gladiator. Given that the Gladiator is essentially a pickup truck version of the Jeep Wrangler, it's not surprising to see that it also made the top 10 least reliable list. The Gladiator suffers from all the same reliability issues as the Wrangler, which is a huge problem for a truck, given that these are meant to be workhorses, meant for hauling and towing and generally built to handle a lot of abuse. But sadly, that's not the case with the Gladiator, which had a pretty disappointing reliability score of only 21 points out of 100, according to the Consumer Reports survey. But then again, the Gladiator was far from the only truck to make the list, because in the number 7 spot we also have the GMC Sierra and the Chevy Silverado. GM's full-size pickup trucks seem to have been on a downward spiral when it comes to reliability for the past decade or so. They have had a number of reported issues when it comes to electronics, the transmissions, but also the engines as well, especially the 5.3 and 6.2 V8 engines. The most common issue with these engines is potential lifter failure, which is a huge problem that could potentially lead to a complete engine teardown. The result is that Consumer Reports only gives the Silverado and Sierra a reliability score of 19 points out of 100, which is a disappointment. But unfortunately for GM, the Silverado and Sierra were not the only GM vehicles to make the top 10 list, because in the number 6 spot we also have the Chevrolet Bolt. Now, I have to admit, this is one that I was surprised to see make this list. Consumer Reports actually gave the Bolt a very strong reliability score in the past, and it also has a very strong score when it comes to owner satisfaction. The biggest issue with the Bolt is that it was affected by a very serious recall, where a handful of cars did catch on fire as a result of malfunctioning battery packs. Now, even though this was a very rare issue that only affected a handful of cars, GM still had to recall every single Bolt going all the way back to 2017, which was a very big inconvenience for a lot of owners. But on the flip side, that also means that every single Bolt owner going all the way back to 2017 received a brand new battery pack, which is a very good thing if you're an owner or if you're buying one of these on the used car market. In any case, I still think that the Bolt is a good value for an electric car, especially in the US, where with all the rebates, it is possible to get one for a little over 20 grand, which is not a bad deal. But I certainly don't have anything good to say about the next vehicle on the list in the number 5 spot, which is the Ford Explorer. Unfortunately for Ford, the Explorer is one of the lowest ranked 3-row SUVs that you can buy when it comes to reliability. Consumer Reports only gives it a reliability score of 16 points out of 100, with issues ranging from transmission problems to issues with the EcoBoost turbocharged engines, and all kinds of various electronic issues too. And considering that the Explorer is not exactly the most competitive SUV when it comes to its packaging, its design, its fuel economy, or its pricing, it's hard to make a strong argument to even consider one of these. And sadly, I would say the same about the next car on the list in the number 4 spot, which is the Nissan Sentra. The Sentra has been quite an underwhelming car for quite some time, and it also has a history of a lot of reliability issues, especially when it comes to the CVT continuously variable transmission. Now this has been a major issue on a lot of different Nissan models in the past, but the Sentra is certainly one of them. And even though Nissan did dramatically improve the Sentra for 2020 with a brand new design, it still lags behind the competition. So unless you're getting one for a very good price, it's probably safest just to buy another car instead. And the same is also true of number 3 on the list, which is the Lincoln Aviator. The Aviator is essentially the luxury version of the Ford Explorer. Both SUVs share the exact same platform and are mechanically very similar, which means they also share the same reliability issues. Only in the case of the Aviator, because it is a more expensive and a more complicated vehicle, it can be even more problematic. For example, the Aviator is available as a plug-in hybrid with a very complicated and honestly not a very effective hybrid system that's also known for having a lot of issues. And then you have the other same issues that are shared with the Explorer, from the EcoBoost engine to the transmissions and electronics, which is why the Aviator only gets a reliability score of 8 points out of 100. It's hard to believe that you can get a lower reliability score than that, but believe it or not, you can, especially in the case of the number 2 vehicle, which is the Hyundai Kona EV. Incredibly, the Kona EV only received a reliability score of 5 points out of 100 by Consumer Reports, which is pretty dismal. Interestingly, electric vehicles in general are not the best category when it comes to reliability, and they don't exactly perform very well when it comes to these reliability surveys. But there's no question the Kona EV has performed a lot more poorly than most, including Tesla, which has historically been known for having its own share of reliability issues too. The issues with the Kona EV include electronic problems, air conditioning issues, and also problems with the electric motors and even the battery packs. And just like the Bolt, the Kona EV was subject to a major recall on the batteries, which affected units all the way back to 2019. It's worth remembering though that the Kona EV was one of the first attempts at a fully electric vehicle by Hyundai, and the much newer Ioniq 5 does seem to be a much better attempt so far. Of course, it is a relatively new vehicle, so I guess only time will tell, but in the meantime, let's move on to the number 1 most unreliable vehicle that you can buy, and that vehicle is the Ford F-150 Hybrid. According to the reliability survey, the F-150 Hybrid has a score of only 4 points out of 100. It's hard to believe that you can actually get a score that low, but there it is. The F-150 Hybrid, also known as the Power Boost, combines a 3.5 twin-turbo V6 engine with Ford's hybrid system. Although a very powerful and capable truck, it has been subject to a wide range of issues. These include transmission problems, issues with the hybrid battery pack, and various electronic problems too. And most of these reliability issues do seem to be quite severe, with a very high number of complaints from owners. Now, part of the issue could be due to the fact that the F-150 Hybrid was a brand new model for 2021, and sometimes when companies like Ford introduce brand new technology on a new vehicle, they can have a lot of early teething issues, which is why it's always safest to buy a vehicle after it's already been on the market for a number of years, after it's developed a proven track record for strong reliability. So there you have it, the worst ranked vehicles for reliability. Let me know what you thought of this list, and if you have any suggestions for any future car videos, just leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at my other car videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And if you need additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal, make sure to check out carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.